Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. So start recording.
We're recording.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Now the pressure's on.
All right. Here goes. Welcome to the Nothin or Triple Show.
The podcast that generates 1.21 gigawatts. I'm Ian.
And I'm Christian. And we have a special guest for our first episode. Guest, introduce yourself.
My name is Keith Kiska, and I'm excited to be here today with both of you.
Yay, guest host.
We're excited to have you here. Okay, so here's what we're going to do on this episode. You've probably seen over the last couple of weeks a lot of lists of most anticipated movies of the year. Things like Captain Marvel, Star Wars Episode 9, Avengers Endgame, Aladdin, The Lion King, Dumbo, Spider-Man, Toy Story. I'm saying a lot of Disney movies. Disney's going to have a really big year. What we want to do on this episode is talk about some movies that might be off your radar. Movies that aren't getting quite as much press or quite as much buzz, but we think are going to make a pretty big splash.
Yeah, thank God, because it seems like Disney is just taken over at this point, and they've totally controlled the programming for all the movies that are coming out.
Well, that's okay. I mean, all those movies I'm excited about all of them.
Right, but the marketing that we're seeing is going to be all these Disney movies. So it's really important that we find movies that maybe don't have the same marketing budget or, trying to reach past the noise.
Yeah.
It's Disney. They're going to produce amazing content, just Disney content. So we all have to expect Disney quality movies.
Keith, your voice sounds really great.
Because I do it deep.
Okay, so we have a whole bunch of movies to get through.
All right, hold on. Before you get started, I want to say that when Christian and I started planning this episode, originally we thought we were going to do something like come up with our own lists and all respond off of like, oh, I'm excited about this, you're excited about that, that's interesting. And then when we were cross-checking each other's lists, it became abundantly clear immediately that his list was much longer, much bigger, and much better than mine. And so
I've heard that before.
and so I said, okay, hold the phone, new plan. You're just gonna. He's writing a post about this. You're gonna pull the content, and then we're gonna react to it because your reach and the movies that you've pulled up off the radar were so far off of my radar that I'm just excited to hear what you found.
Okay, so both of you have to shut me up because I did do the writing, and I'll probably drone on. Okay, so these are in no particular order. I'm not sure why I didn't put them in an order, but the first one on my list is Ad Astra. So it's about an astronaut played by Brad Pitt who goes searching for his father, played by Tommy Lee Jones. And Tommy Lee Jones, he was an astronaut who went on a secret mission to the edge of the solar system and disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Not a lot is known about this movie, but the log line references a secret or secrets that challenge the nature of human existence. And I remember reading back about this movie. James Gray's the director. I don't know, maybe like 2 years ago when it was being pitched. And I read a couple places that it was described as Apocalypse Now in space. So my thinking is that this could be our generation's 2001. Or maybe it'll squander
That's
a really
bold.
great premise.
Pretty daring for a Space Cowboys too.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Like, this is a big budget movie. It's got a Memorial Day launch this year. I've seen nothing but a single production still from it. So it's possible it'll get bumped back. Or that maybe it's just like flying under everybody's radar and it's going to be awesome.
Well, Tommy Lee Jones, and Brad Pitt, but Tommy Lee Jones
Donald
more.
Sutherland.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, Donald Sutherland and Tommy Lee Jones, isn't that Space Cowboys? That was both of them in there.
That was both of them.
Yeah.
And
So now,
Clint
what is
Eastwood
Brad Pitt the
and,
number 3, the third wheel in this sequel scenario? I'm telling you, it might be a lot like it.
Brad
Could
Pitt's
be.
old enough to be a space cowboy.
I'm glad that it sounds awesome. We don't know a whole lot about it. We haven't seen a trailer. I'm glad that it's coming out a full month after Avengers Endgame, so it should have some space because this is the type of movie that like Avengers could totally just plow over it.
The next movie doesn't have a release date yet, but it's Taika Waititi's Jojo Rabbit. And
I thought it was Taika.
Taika?
I thought so.
Okay.
I don't know. Don't take my word for it.
No. All right. I'll just
his name was Taika.
refer to him as Waititi because I don't want to insult him.
I finally saw the Wilder People.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? So his last 3 movies, he's somebody who I think the general public doesn't know enough about yet. But his last 3 movies, the most recent was Thor Ragnarok, which I think is one of the best.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible, right? The tone is fantastic. It's hilarious.
The rewatchability, my kids watch it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It is a really good Marvel movie, absolutely.
Yeah. And then right before that, he did, Ian, you just referenced
Hunt for the Wilder People.
Hunt for the Wilder People with Sam Neill, which is a movie that everybody should see. It's just a wonderful, heartwarming, is dramedy would probably be the right category. And then before that, What We Do in the Shadows, that they're now remaking. They have a TV series about it in Australia or New Zealand, and then they're doing an American version on FX. But it was a mockumentary about vampires and werewolves, and it was super funny. So anyway, in my mind, Taika Waititi can do no wrong.
Hopefully that's right. I hope I haven't steered you wrong.
Okay. Well, anyway, so Jojo Rabbit is World War II. There's another movie on our list in World War I. This is a World War II satire where a young boy has an imaginary friend, and that imaginary friend is Adolf Hitler, played by Taika Waititi. So that's to me, that sounds like a recipe for disaster. But if there is somebody in Hollywood who can pull this off and do so in an endearing and non-controversial way, it's Taika Waititi.
Wait, Taika Waititi is the actor?
Well, he's an actor and he's a director.
Oh.
So he always plays in his own movies.
So was he in Thor Ragnarok?
He was Korg. He was the rock guy. Hey man, what's
dude,
the guy?
that is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's super funny.
No, I listened to an interview with him, a radio show, and he says, I put myself in all my movies because I'm a narcissist and I want all my...
Yeah. I mean, seriously, he is one of the funniest guys out there. He's doing an incredible job of bending genres. Taika Waititi, Jermaine Clement, and Brett McKenzie, and Reese Darby. Super funny guys. I think anything that they do is worth watching.
Jermaine Clement was in Men in Black 3 as Boris the Animal.
Yeah.
And we just watched it. The boys, my kids and I, we've been marathoning all the Men in Black movies.
Yeah,
and
his laugh is so funny.
Boris the Animal. It's Boris. He's also the turtle in is it Moana? Remember the did you guys see Moana?
I did see Moana.
No.
Like 400 times. I have a daughter.
Okay, so remember the giant tortoise where he's like, "Oh, I see. You've painted a barnacle." There's a diversion.
Yeah, that guy was awesome.
That guy, he's from Flight of the Conchords.
You crazy?
He's a big collaborator with Taika Waititi.
And he's great on his own. So the next one is Midsummer, which is coming out on August 9th. It's from Ari Aster, who directed Hereditary last year. And like the two reactions to Hereditary were that people either thought it was brilliant or they hated it. I thought it was brilliant. He was a first-time feature director. And I think regardless of how you felt about the story itself, there's no questioning that he's already a master craftsman. It's a technical marvel, Hereditary, and it just does this really great job of building atmosphere for his story. So this new one, not a lot's known about it, but it's another horror mystery, and it might involve pagan rituals in Sweden.
Yeah, I don't.
Not up your alley. Did either of you see Hereditary?
I didn't.
I did not see Hereditary.
Okay.
Is it good?
But you're a big horror fan, and I'm not big on the.
Yeah.
Keith, how do you feel about horror movies?
I don't like to pay money to be terrified.
I think you can stream it on Prime now, so you don't have to pay any extra money.
I retract my statement. I just don't like to be terrified necessarily.
All right. So Hereditary.
You'd have to pay me to
except to Get Out or stuff like that has comedic.
Get Out's more of a psychological thriller.
Yes, those are real good to me.
Yeah. So Hereditary was more about a growing sense of dread than like jump scares,
Mm-hmm.
And it just flies off the rails in crazy directions in the last act. So.
I watched Mother, and that was pretty upsetting.
Okay, so then you won't look
I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was great, but it was wow.
Okay, so they're different movies, Hereditary and Mother, but I would say they're like spiritually related.
That's cool. I love interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, just horror for the sake of horror. That's when I was like in my 20s. But nowadays, I like real, deep thinker stuff. So
yeah, okay.
That sounds interesting.
So check out Hereditary. It's from A24, which so far has not made a bad movie. Next, coming out in December is 1917, which is Sam Mendes' first movie since Spectre. Again, nobody knows a lot about it other than the setting. He does a great job with period pieces, and my guess is that because it's a December release, they're positioning it for like an awards run. So, maybe a smaller budget drama, although who really knows? Mostly it's just because it's the Sam Mendes movie that I'm excited.
I was going to ask you what your favorite Sam Mendes movie is.
Skyfall. Roger Deakins is the cinematographer for 1970.
So it's going to look great.
Who is the best cinematographer working today? Yeah.
Or of all time.
Yeah.
Depending on who you ask. I'm pretty big fan of Roger.
What's your favorite Sam Mendes movie?
Road to Perdition.
Yeah. I like that one.
Is that your favorite, Keith?
It's just a good movie.
Although Skyfall is really good too.
Yeah. So this next one has a tentative 2019 release date. I could easily see it getting bumped a couple months into 2020. But it's Wes Anderson's new movie, The French Dispatch. My sense is at this point in Wes Anderson's career, he's just continuing to improve. Like he's tightened his craft, he's tightened his storytelling, he's getting better and better. This is just incredible world building technique. And what excites me about this one, so it takes place in 1950s in Paris, something about an American newspaper or something that has an outlet in Paris. But 3 new people. He's got a lot of his normal collaborators in the movie, which is always exciting, but 3 new people for this one. Henry Winkler, who's having a career resurgence, or I guess that sort of started with Arrested Development, but he's just doing really fun work right now. If you haven't seen Barry on HBO, watch that.
The Fonz.
Yeah. But I think he's outgrown that. Benicio del Toro.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome and everything. And then Jeffrey Wright, who, for my money, is one of the all-time great character actors. He elevates anything he's in. He could be in a soup commercial, and I would be mesmerized by it.
I love Jeffrey Wright. I think that he's due for some more starring roles, though. He has the range and the...
Well, Benicio, too. I mean, when's the last time he actually starred in something, like headlined it?
Yeah.
He's always been...
B-movies.
Yeah.
Sicario 2, maybe.
Oh, yeah. No, maybe, of course.
Yeah.
Is it Josh Brolin's movie? I mean, is it a buddy film?
It's not a buddy film.
No, but he was still
Definitely
one of the leads.
Because Emily Blunt was Sicario 1, but she's not in the sequel. It's more about...
Yeah.
I guess like Josh Brolin's character is sort of presented as the protagonist, but you see a lot of it from Benicio's perspective. Thoughts on The French Dispatch?
I'm down for anything Wes Anderson ever.
Yeah.
So he can do no wrong by me.
Yeah, like you said, world building, editing. I mean, every single movie.
Yeah.
I just cannot wait.
Yep.
I mean, the Budapest. What is that? The Budapest.
Grand Budapest.
And then the Isle of Dogs just recently.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just constant winner.
He's brilliant in that he has his style and he's not trying to be anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are trying to copy him, but he's just got like his unique point of view. And it's like a Wes Anderson movie is not like any other movie. It's just so if people aren't Wes Anderson familiar, what would be should they start at the beginning of his portfolio?
Not the very beginning. I think
would be a good entry point.
Royal Tenenbaums probably.
Mm-hmm. I like his animated features.
Yeah,
I think those are just so unique.
Fantastic, Mr. Fox.
Yes, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was just so good. Was that his first
first animated, and then
that was just
Isle
so
of Dogs
good.
is number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's done 2 non-traditional films.
And I started Fantastic Fox not even knowing it was Wes Anderson. I'm like, this is
brilliant.
Sneakingly suspicious.
Yeah.
Someone's copying Wes Anderson here.
Yeah. All right. The next movie is coming out March 15th. It's called Captive State. The marketing for this movie has not been great, but I'm choosing to be optimistic because of the talent involved. So the sort of general premise is that we're looking at Chicago 10 years after an alien invasion. The perspective of the movie seems to be focused on the political unrest associated with humans complying with aliens and then maybe a brewing revolution. The director is Rupert Wyatt, the guy who brought Planet of the Apes back to life. He directed the first Planet of the Apes prequel movie.
Just the first one.
Just the first one.
Not the subsequent sequels.
No, Matt Reeves did the other ones. And then 2 years ago, he directed the pilot for The Exorcist TV series, which was fantastic. That show, it was one of the best pilots that I've seen, but the show through and through was great. I'm really bummed that Fox canceled it, but they canceled all their good shows. So maybe now that Disney owns them, they'll stop doing that. Anyway, the cast is really great for a Captive State, and it's a fun premise, right?
I think the trailer that I saw originally was just, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Until right at the end, over the football field, you see the spaceship.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, they're talking about aliens. I thought they were talking about, political unrest or however society's going to break down.
Yeah.
But no, there's an outside external threat. So I'm not going to say that, once I saw that, I kind of got a little bit maybe not excited. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm really excited for John Goodman in this role.
Yes, yeah.
I've always been a fan of John Goodman's, but recently he's been displaying incredible range.
Recently?
Well, more than before, I think. Like with 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he
great.
was so good in that.
Mhm.
Like, did he get nominated or anything? I thought his performance was amazing.
I don't remember. So next September 13th, the movie is tentatively called All You Need Is Love. It's Danny Boyle's new movie. If you paid attention to James Bond news in the last couple of months, Danny Boyle was supposed to direct the new James Bond movie, Bond 25, and there were some sort of creative differences and he dropped out. And usually when that sort of thing happens, a director will kind of just lay low for a while. But he sprinted right into this new project. There was all sorts of buzz. The people who read the script were really excited about it, but nobody really knows what it's about. So what I have heard, and this could end up being totally wrong, but what I have heard is that the premise, it's a musical, and the premise is that there's a guy who finds out that he's the only person in the world who remembers the Beatles. So it's like
it's an interesting premise. It's
that
like
could be so much fun, especially if it's a musical. If this guy has to reintroduce the most influential band of all time to the rest of the world,
right.
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, how does he explain to them the beauty of the music without?
That's going to be part of the fun.
That's
I think.
crazy.
Yeah, but it is a musical.
We're gonna have to imagine.
Oh, it's a musical. Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. Done.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to happen.
It's a cool idea, though. It's like an actually fun Black Mirror episode or something, or Twilight Zone. I wonder at what point we're going to start referring to strange premises as Black Mirror instead of the Twilight Zone.
So does it have a name yet, the movie?
Well, the working title that I've heard is "All You Need Is Love," which is a Beatles song. But
Right. And Richard Curtis wrote it.
yeah,
Or is working on it.
Yeah.
Was worked on it.
yeah,
Which is the Love Actually guy.
Right.
So it's gonna have some sappiness to it, but
so.
in a good way. In a good way.
Oh, don't diminish Love
And in
Actually.
an endearing.
Uh,
Hey, look, if it's got enough.
you don't have to call it sappy.
Okay. Sweet.
Sure, I'll take that. All right, moving on. Next movie is 17 Bridges, which comes out on July 19th. The log line is pretty standard and sounds like a Bruce Willis straight-to-video.
That's my kind of movie.
Exactly. Disgraced cop has to redeem himself, or tries to redeem himself, and uncovers a massive conspiracy. But there's something about the 17 bridges in New York being shut down, and he's like trapped on the island. It's a little Batman Begins there.
I was going to say it's a plot device from Batman.
Yeah. But anyway, what elevates this, I think, is that Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther, stars. J.K. Simmons is another star.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, for all 5 minutes of Justice League.
Taylor Kitsch, John Carter. There's heroes everywhere.
Yeah. But it was produced by the Russo brothers. So, they've been tied up in Marvel, doing the Avengers movies and Captain America movies. So I don't know how they squeezed this in. But they're really cool to me, and I'd love to talk about them more in a future podcast because they have incredible range, right? They launched Arrested Development, they're some of the brains behind Community, and then somehow they transitioned into massive blockbusters. So I would love to see what they do with this genre.
I think Taylor Kitsch doesn't get enough screen time.
Yeah, well, so I think he got a lot of screen time and deserved a lot of screen time, and I don't understand why he didn't land with audiences. I think he's great.
Have you guys seen Only the Brave, the Wildfire movie yet?
No.
With
Josh Brolin?
Josh Brolin, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Miles Teller.
Yeah. Very good.
Thank you.
Taylor Kitsch is a supporting character in it, and he's off type. Like usually he plays like the pretty boy or like some type of, rebel or bad boy, pretty boy or something. But in this, he's got
rebel bad boy.
In this, he's still a bad boy, but he's got a mustache, and he's just kind of like this.
So he's not pretty
Who's
anymore?
Taylor Kitsch?
John Carter.
Oh, John Carter.
Yeah, Battleship.
He was Gambit in the Wolverine.
Okay.
He's this guy.
He was a lone survivor.
Yeah, so
Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was super funny in Only the Brave, which was a great movie. Everybody should see it.
Okay, my next movie is a movie that might not actually exist, but I'm hoping it does, and that's Cloverfield 4. So,
did you just put this on your list because you want it to exist?
Yeah, actually, I wrote in my notes that if I talk about it, I can will it into existence.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
My wife is trying to do this, trying to like buy a house this year. She thinks it's going to happen by talking about it.
Oh, well, J.J. Abrams has a history of dropping surprise movies. Do you have a history of dropping surprise houses?
we will if we do it.
All right.
Let's keep on talking about it.
Yeah.
All right, keep willing it, Christian. Where's this going? Who's in it? Who wrote it?
Do I get to write it?
Apparently, you get to invent the whole thing.
Well, here's the thing. Bad Robot snatched up a bunch of sci-fi spec scripts last year, which is what they did with both Cloverfield Paradox and 10 Cloverfield Lane, and then they sort of adapted them to the Cloverfield universe. So it's entirely plausible that something that's in production could be a Cloverfield movie. Last year, everybody thought that Overlord was going to be one. I still haven't seen that. I'm really bummed that I missed it in the theaters.
I mean, how tied is J.J. Abrams anymore to any of those movies? So didn't he first direct Cloverfield, like the first one?
No. Matt Reeves directed it.
And what did JJ have to do with it then?
He executive produced it. It was an idea.
I thought it was like entirely JJ's baby or something.
No. Well, I mean, yeah, as an executive producer. So he's like sort of.
But that was earlier on when his name meant that that was his movie.
Well, he was also involved.
Not like how Spielberg produces something now. It just means he's like overseeing it, kind of. You know.
I mean, JJ's getting closer to that, I think. But even Cloverfield Paradox, the Netflix.
Yeah, I saw that.
That I actually liked.
I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was okay.
Okay, the next one on the list is getting a lot of buzz this week, so maybe it's on your radar at this point, or whenever you listen to this. It's called The Report, and people have sort of described it as a companion piece to Zero Dark 30, but it's a procedural political thriller about the team that was put in charge of investigating the torture program after 9/11. So Adam Driver and John Hamm are the stars. There was this big bidding war at Sundance for this, and I can't remember if it was I think it was Amazon that came away. They paid like $13 million, which is pretty crazy for distribution. But I've been reading the reviews out of Sundance, and they've been fantastic, like 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, that sort of thing. Okay, we were talking about this one earlier before we started recording, but the next one is coming out on Valentine's Day this year. So you'll already know about it if you listen to this any later, but it's called Fighting With My Family. It's about a British family that's obsessed with professional wrestling. The father is Nick Frost, who is, you probably know him as Simon Pegg's comedy partner. Super funny guy. It's directed by Stephen Merchant, who is also hilarious. And The Rock is in it. The Rock has a big year ahead of him. He's got the Fast and Furious spinoff, which is going to be awesome. He's got Jumanji 3. But in this movie, he's playing a version of himself as a supporting character. So I love sports movies. Have you seen Eddie the Eagle?
Oh, yeah.
That was a fantastic movie.
I can't get through that without choking up.
It was good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
I watched it with my son, my 12-year-old, and at the end of it, I was like, now we have to watch Rudy. Keep it going.
So a good sports movie on its own is a really wonderful thing, but I think this has the potential.
I think when I saw this trailer like a month ago or something like that, and the first time I saw it, it just seems like a kind of a normal movie, but I don't know, something about it just seems so good.
Yeah.
And I cannot explain what it is.
Yeah.
On surface value, I usually just wouldn't like the movie that much. It just seems like a standard movie. But the way Rock just slapped him down and I mean, The Rock, we can all always smell what The Rock is cooking. He's always cooking up grade A, perfect quality sushi every single time. But I mean,
you don't cook sushi.
Never mind. It doesn't matter. No, but this movie, it really did just seem like such a good way. And I am not a fan of WWE, WWF necessarily, but it just seemed like such a good movie to get fans to understand that world. I mean, and I don't know why. I have no idea why. It's just something about it just really looked awesome.
Vince Vaughn?
Vince Vaughn. Mm-hmm.
Vince Vaughn is a supremely underappreciated actor.
He's good.
He's super funny. He is super funny. I sounded dismissive when I said that. He's hilarious, but he's a great dramatic actor too.
Yep, absolutely.
Really great.
Wasn't he that? What horror movie did he do?
The Cell?
The soul was
early on in his
horrible.
career, yeah.
That was weird,
Yeah.
man. That was weird.
Yeah.
And who's the other guy? D'Onofrio or
he was the serial killer.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
That was
Yeah.
sick. And Jennifer Lopez.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that director, his name is Tarsim. I'm not sure what he's done. He did an NBC TV series, miniseries of like a sort of gritty Wizard of Oz last year. Vincent D'Onofrio was the wizard. But Tarsim is his name, and he's just got this really unique visual style.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. So I'd love to see anything else he does. Okay. My next one is another Sundance movie that's getting a lot of buzz. It's called Blinded by the Light, which is not a Manfred Mann song. It's a Bruce Springsteen song. And it's a coming of age story about a British teenager who sort of learns to understand the world through the music of Bruce Springsteen. And I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan. In 2012, when Bruce Springsteen put out the album Wrecking Ball, I think it was 2012, there was something about the album that just really spoke to me on, I don't know, some level that music, I'm a huge music fan, but there's something about that album that felt personal. It really captured what was going on in the world. And so I'm really interested to see what this director has done with the source material, because I'd imagine there are other people who have had a similar experience with Bruce Springsteen, and that's probably what inspired him to write this.
So what's the movie about, though?
I honestly don't know much more about it other than that it's a coming of age story framed with Bruce Springsteen music. Yeah.
Is it going to be a possible, like, is he going to have anything else to do with it? Like,
good question.
Well, it's
I don't
a
know.
period piece in 1987, so he's not going to be in it, I don't think, unless they young him up big time.
Well, maybe, yeah.
maybe they're going to use all the music just to frame the entire.
Yeah. So I'm curious. But again, the reviews out of Sundance have been fantastic. So, okay. I'm just going to read the list of ones that I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about, but they're on my radar.
We should tell people, like, beware, this is coming.
Yeah.
Take a look. Go look it out.
Yeah. And then I'll end with one that I actually want to talk about. Okay. So first, Rambo 5, Last Blood.
Yes.
You didn't want to open with that?
I know.
Because I think it's not going to appeal to a lot of
What
people.
about
But I thought the last Rambo in 2008 or whatever.
Did you say Rambo 5,
Yeah.
First Blood?
Last Blood.
Last Blood!
Yeah.
Oh, we're going full circle. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
about to die anytime soon, so might as well.
Yeah.
Is he directing?
Yeah. No, he didn't direct. No, but he wrote the script, I think. So,
He's great.
okay, next, Little Monsters. Lupita Nyong'o is a school teacher who has to protect her students when zombie apocalypse suddenly happens. It's a horror comedy, and it's supposed to be really funny.
Cool.
All right, I'll keep going. You guys don't sound like you like zombie movies. Boss Level, Joe Carnahan, who's a good sort of action director. That was not a great way to describe him. Anyway, he's also a good screenwriter. And the movie has Mel Gibson as a special forces operative who has to keep reliving the day of his death. So on paper, it sounds a little bit like Edge of Tomorrow or Groundhog Day or something. But if Joe Carnahan is involved, I guarantee you there is a clever twist there.
Say Mel Gibson as an actor?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Next, another movie about special forces people. Netflix's Triple Frontier, which is about some former special operatives.
This looks good.
Yeah, it's got a killer cast, and they want to rip off a cartel. It was a movie that it's been in production hell for a long time. Like Catherine Bigelow was going to direct it at one point. I feel like Tom Hanks was circling the project at one point.
Did you see the trailer for this?
No.
Ben Affleck, Charlie Hunnam, Pedro Pascal, and Oscar Isaac. Like
That's strong.
Yeah.
That's very strong.
The trailer looks amazing.
Yeah, so I'm not sure why there's not more buzz for it. Long Shot, which is a comedy starring Seth Rogen. So the director's Jonathan Levine, who did 50-50, and he takes a while between his movies. I don't think 50-50 was his most recent movie, but so he sort of he takes the Seth Rogen, James Franco comedy tone and makes it a little bit more serious. So his movies are really thoughtful and touching. But this one sounds funny to me. So Seth Rogen, who's the logline is something like he's messed up his own life and he decides to go for broke and pursue a woman who's way out of his league, one of the most influential women in the world. It was his former babysitter, and she's played by Charlize Theron. So it was originally called Flarsky, which is really funny. I think that's his character's name. But now it's called Long Shot. And
Flarsky is a way better name for a movie.
I don't know why. Yeah.
Flarsky.
The character is Fred Flarsky.
That's fantastic. It's like Fletch.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
That one, yeah.
That's exactly what I thought of. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm psyched for that.
Randall Park is in this too.
Yeah.
And Randall Park was the FBI agent in Ant-Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, he keeps showing up at his house.
Ant-Man 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Quantum Realm Boogaloo.
And he also has another funny role. You haven't seen Aquaman yet, but he has a side role in Aquaman. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good. Okay, 2 more, and then we'll talk about the last one. Noah Baumbach has a new movie coming out this year. I don't know anything about it, but in 2017, Netflix had his movie, The Meyerowitz Stories, and it was like Dustin Hoffman, Ben Stiller, Adam Sandler, and hands down top 3 movies of that year for me. Maybe close to the top movie. I think everybody should see it. He's somebody like Wes Anderson who's got a really unique style, and he refines it with each movie. So I always look forward to his movies. Next, Knives Out, which is Rian Johnson's first movie since The Last Jedi.
Not interested.
Well, that's not fair.
Not interested.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, poor Rian Johnson.
No, please, by all means. I'm not shutting you down. Elaborates.
Yeah.
So a lot of people like his
I'm just going to go ahead and walk out the room right now.
Okay. The Last Jedi didn't do it for me, but I think Rian Johnson is a great director and a great storyteller.
Wait, he did Looper, right?
Yeah.
Was that it?
Yeah.
I thought Looper was fine. It
I
was
didn't
a good
like
movie.
Looper. Looper bugged the crap out of me.
Okay.
I think his movies are a little bit divisive.
And this is our final episode of the Nothing Here Triple podcast. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it, and it's got a great cast. So
what's it called again?
Knives Out.
I mean, I am very interested in actually seeing what he can do
With
when he's not
knives.
butchering
when they're out.
40 years of legacy.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. I would love to see what he can do on
And
his
a
own.
lot of his fans, that's what they're saying. That we can't wait for him to go back to original content where he's not having to deal with expectations from
Okay,
fans.
I don't want to go down the Last Jedi
No,
trap
you
here.
don't.
But I will say that I think he made a very good movie with a story that he felt was important to him. And
So you're going down this path.
no. What I'm saying is
you're talking about Star Wars, not his new movie.
No, it's Star Wars.
Oh, you want to open up this can of worms? Okay.
What I'm saying is that
For over 40 minutes.
Okay.
What are you doing? You want to start this now?
What didn't resonate with people was the story, and it wasn't about the production. It wasn't about whether it felt like a Star Wars movie. It was how it moved the narrative forward. I didn't like the narrative, but I did appreciate the scale and the vision for the movie, and the fact that he had a story he wanted to tell, and he told that story well, even if it wasn't the story we wanted.
Right.
Is that fair?
He told a bad story well.
Yeah. Well,
I agree with
he
that.
told a story we didn't want well. Okay. All right. So the last one I want to talk about, which is another can of worms, and will probably get us to about 2 hours. It's called Six Underground. It is a Netflix movie directed by Michael Bay that was briefly rumored to be a live-action version of Thundercats, and when it was revealed not to be Thundercats, my heart broke, and I've been healing it since then. But the premise is there are 6 billionaires. One of them is Ryan Reynolds. And they fake their own deaths so that they can become vigilantes and fight criminals. So it's like, what would you do if you had 6 Bruce Waynes with a little bit of comedy and...
How the Thundercats, though?
I don't know. I have no idea where that rumor came from.
I would be excited about this movie if it wasn't Michael Bay attached to it.
Okay, so here's the can of worms here. I said in the blog post that accompanies this podcast, I think Michael Bay is a great director. I think he is somebody who has had the same scale of influence on Hollywood blockbusters and spectacle films as Steven Spielberg or George Lucas. Now, Michael Bay, his shortcoming is narrative, which is a really important part of a movie, like an essential part of a movie.
Maybe the most important.
Doesn't he make a lot of his money off commercials right now? I mean, he crushes commercials.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic visual director.
Right.
Visually, he is amazing.
But if he has a good script in front of him, he can make a great movie. He has made some great movies, right?
Bad Boys.
Ooh, The Rock.
The first Bad Boys.
Rock.
The Rock is
Rock is great.
fantastic.
And we all love The Rock.
Yes, exactly. Pain and Gain with the other Rock and Mark Wahlberg and Anthony Mackie. That was great. So I think, Michael Bay has trouble with restraint, but if he has a good story in front, not trouble. No, that's not fair.
Has
to
he
say.
done comedy kind of stuff? Like, because this seems like,
Yeah, I mean,
6
he
Batmans,
works.
it seems
Bad
like something
Boys
could be
has it.
funny.
Yeah, he works comedy into his scripts.
Was
But
Bad Boys really funny, though?
yes, yeah. But look, here, consider the premise of the movie, right? 6 billionaires have billions of dollars to
that's
spend
funny.
on fighting bad guys.
That's funny.
What other director
Well,
could,
and Ryan Reynolds.
What other director could
Yeah,
make a movie
Ryan
about
Reynolds,
6
exactly.
billionaires? Like,
Yeah.
what does it look like when 6 billionaires spend billions of dollars blowing things up? Michael Bay is the man to direct this movie.
Yeah, no, it sounds like I'm excited.
Yeah, you sound excited.
Michael Bay just makes everyone do that exact noise. It's just what he's done after he butchers. No, I loved him when he first came out with Transformers. Oh, yes, thank you, buddy. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, yay! But then the next one, and the next one, and the next one, he butchers it to death. And
Yeah, but it's because of the story, right?
Yeah, I just see. I think this is it has a lot of potential, and so that it makes you nervous. Like, can he deliver?
Please don't
Yeah.
screw it up.
Yeah, please
It
don't
seems
screw it up.
cool, you know.
Well, it's low risk. He's not low risk. It's a $90 million movie he's doing for Netflix, so it's not low risk for Netflix or him.
He'll guarantee
But
to
it's
make
low
a
risk for
fantastic
us.
film.
Yeah.
He'll make an amazing
Yeah.
cash
It'll make money for
grab.
sure.
It'll
Yeah.
be fantastic. Will it be all it could be with a good concept?
I think I'd be less excited if Ryan Reynolds was not attached to it. I mean, did you see the trailer for the Pokemon movie?
Yeah.
I don't care about Pokemon. I have no interest.
Is he in that?
Yeah. It
Oh
looks
man,
really
it's
good.
the
He plays
Pikachu detective movie. Like,
yeah.
if I tell you there's a Pokemon movie coming out called Pikachu Detective or whatever,
Detective Pikachu.
are you interested in that at all?
No.
And then I tell you that Ryan Reynolds is voicing Pikachu, and then you see this trailer.
Yeah, it's not Ryan Reynolds that sells the movie. It's
To me, it does because I was like, "This is
once
hilarious."
you see, yeah, it's not hearing that Ryan Reynolds is in it that sells it. It's seeing the trailer. The trailer is quite impressive. It looks like a Pokemon Blade Runner movie.
It's really good.
Yeah.
And after seeing that trailer, I was like, "Okay, this guy just turns everything into gold."
And so does Michael Bay. Okay, so Michael Bay is a great director.
Oh wait, hold on. One caveat here. Christian has a personal bias toward Michael Bay because he met him
sort of, yeah.
and
He talked to
had
me.
a front row. He talked to you in person.
Yeah.
You had what was the story? You rode your bike up. Tell us the story real quick.
No, I didn't. Where did you get a bike from?
Didn't you used to ride your bike downtown?
No,
and there was,
where'd you
they're
get a
filming
bike
something?
from?
No, it was a horse.
In the snow.
No. I lived on Capitol Hill, and they were filming Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, maybe the third one, I think, in DC down on Pennsylvania Avenue. And when they film movies around here, it's always a crapshoot what you're going to see because a lot of times it's just B-roll stuff, and nobody's ever going to be there. So my roommate and I walked down to the mall, and they had blocks cordoned off, so you couldn't even get close to the set because they were going to do explosives. And I figured it's not worth our time. You're not going to be able to see anything. But we walked around to this one area right next to the Canadian embassy, and we're standing there. And all of a sudden, Michael Bay walks up, and it turns out we were like right where his production headquarters was. So he walks up like 2 feet in front of me and says, "Do you guys want to see some fireworks?" I'm like, "Yeah, we want to see some fireworks." And he'd been setting up this thing that ended up literally being like 15 or 20 seconds of the entire movie. But he yelled action. They had police cars exploding.
And you were right there.
Yeah, landing on top of each other. They had all these military guys firing blanks like at Transformers that you can't see. It was absolutely
And you're like tugging on
nuts.
his shirt, like, "Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!"
Exactly. Yeah.
So with that bias,
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'd be biased too. He's the best. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
my hero.
Yeah.
All right. So that I think wraps up our episode. Any closing thoughts? My closing thought is that I hope Keith comes back frequently.
Ooh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for
I
coming
love
out.
movies, and I always enjoy talking about them. So, and we're gonna have sushi after this, so I am totally down.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how you get Keith out.
Yes.
That's Christian's list of the movies that might be off your radar that you should definitely check out. There's definitely some gems on there that I'm very excited for.
You could have watched half a movie in the entire time that it took you to listen to this. So thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, well, maybe you got a commute or something. I don't know. What's next? What's coming up?
Okay, so here's one thing I want to talk about on the next episode, and it might be a little controversial, but I think that Hollywood should get rid of the term reboot. And I have some very specific reasons why.
Just do it.
And and I have a solutions-oriented approach to terms that we could use instead.
Are you including the
Ghostbusters?
hybrid terms like pre-boot and like that's what the new Bumblebee movie? It's a pre-boot where it was like
Ooh.
semi-reboot, semi-prequel.
I'm not telling you until next time.
Okay. Thanks for tuning in and listening to us. We really appreciate your time listening to us talk about these movies that we hope turn out really well. The Nothing or Triple Show is a podcast available everywhere that podcasts are found. Do you know where podcasts are found, Christian?
Yeah, in the cloud?
On YouTube?
Wherever podcasts are found, that's where you'll find the Nothing or Triple Show. We're also on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those places. So you can find us and follow us there. And of course, we have a website, nothingertriple.com, where you can see the posts for these episodes, as well as much more in-depth content that we have written and will continue to write. And hopefully you'll come check out that content.
Nothingertriple.com.
That's really sexy, Keith. Thanks for coming.
Can I use my CVS coupons on podcasts?
Fortunately, they're free. So all you have to do is come listen to us and tell your friends about it and subscribe and share and so on and so on. All right, that's enough rambling.
Peace.